The choice you are already making. Every single day, you make a choice. And most people never realize they're making it because it doesn't feel like a choice. It just feels like life, just how things are, just getting through the day. But underneath the routine, underneath the noise, underneath the comfort of the familiar, there is a decision being made, quietly, consistently, repeatedly. And that decision is this: truth or comfort. Today I'm going to say something that might be difficult to hear, not because I want to challenge you, but because I think you already know it. And the most loving thing I can do is to say it out loud. Choosing not to choose is still a choice. And for most people, it is the most consequential and most cowardly choice they will ever make. So let's go deep on this. The architecture of avoidance. Here is what choosing comfort over truth actually looks like in a human life. It looks like knowing your relationship is slowly hollowing you out and staying anyway because leaving is too complicated. It looks like seeing something deeply wrong in this world around you and scrolling past it because engagement feels like too much. It looks like carrying a knowing, a soul level knowing, that you were built for something more than this and going back to sleep anyway because the dream is safer than the awakening. It looks like silence in rooms where your voice was needed, agreement with things you don't actually believe, laughter at things that aren't even funny, performance of a version of yourself that was designed for other people's comfort, not your own truth. This is avoidance, and it is not neutral. It is not harmless. It is not simply taking your time. Avoidance is a direction. Every moment you choose comfort over truth, you are moving, not forward. You are moving deeper into a life that belongs to your fears rather than to your soul. And here's the part that the comfortable version of spirituality will never tell you. Not deciding is deciding. The absence of a choice is itself a statement about what you value, about what you are willing to protect, and about how much you actually trust what you say that you believe. So why is comfort always wins over truth? These are the subconscious layers. So why does this happen? Why do intelligent, feeling, and even spiritually aware people consistently choose comfort over the truth they can feel in their bones? Because this isn't a failure of intelligence. It runs much deeper than that. The first layer is biological. Your nervous system is literally wired for survival, not for truth. The ancient part of your brain that governs threat response cannot distinguish between a physical predator and the social discomfort of telling your family something that they don't want to hear. To your nervous system, rocking the boat feels like danger. Choosing truth in a room full of people who prefer the lie triggers the same alarm system as standing at the edge of a cliff. Most people spend their entire lives governed by that alarm. They mistake the discomfort of truth for evidence that they're doing something wrong, when in reality, they are doing something right for the very first time. The second layer is identity. We are social creatures. From childhood, belonging was very survival based. We wanted to belong. Being cast out from the group, from the family, the tribe, the peer circle, was generally life-threatening to our ancestors. So we learned at a subconscious level to shape ourselves to fit or fit in, to edit our truth before it reaches our lips, to sand down the edges of who we are so we don't disturb the peace of the group. And over time, over years, over decades, the editing becomes so automatic you forget that you're even doing it. You forget there was ever a version of you that hadn't been filtered. The performance becomes the person. You're now an actor. The third layer is the deepest and therefore the most painful. It is shame. Underneath most people's comfort seeking is a core wound, a belief installed early and reinforced often that their true self is too much. It's too intense, too different, too strange, too big for the rooms that they were given. And the most efficient way to manage that shame is to never really fully show up, never fully commit, never go all in on your own truth. Because if you do, and the world still rejects you, there is nowhere left to hide. Choosing comfort is, at its core, a form of preemptive self-rejection. You abandon yourself before the world gets the chance to. And I want you to sit with that for a little bit. Just sit with that for a moment, because that's the real cost of choosing comfort over truth. Not the missed opportunities, not the unlived adventures. It is the slow, quiet betrayal of your own soul. Day after day, choice by choice. And betrayal is the right word. I use the word betrayal deliberately, and I want you to stay with that, because we typically think of betrayal as something done to us by somebody else. But the most devastating betrayal a human can experience is the one that they commit against themselves. When you know something is true, when your soul is literally shouting it at you through every form of signal that it has, through your body's tension, through your recurring dreams, through the quiet voice that never fully goes away, and you override it repeatedly in favor of what keeps you safe and what keeps the peace, that is betrayal. It is betrayal of the soul that came into this body with a specific purpose. It is a betrayal of every version of you that existed before the world started editing you out. It is a betrayal of the people who need the real you, not the comfortable, managed, socially acceptable version, but the one who has actually walked through the fire and has something real to say about it. And here's what makes it particularly devastating. Most people already know. On some level, they know. The self-deception is never quite complete. There is always a part of the soul watching, witnessing, and keeping the score. And that part, that witnessing self, doesn't forget. It registers every abandoned truth, every silenced knowing, every moment the comfortable path was chosen over the courageous one. And it calculates the debt in anxiety, in emptiness, in the particular exhaustion that comes from not doing too much, but from being too little of who you actually are. So there's a moment of actual choice. So what does that really look like to actually choose differently? It doesn't always look dramatic. It doesn't always look like burning your life down and starting over. Sometimes the choice is quiet, internal, a decision made in the privacy of your own consciousness before anyone else can even see it. It looks like stopping in the moment you would normally override yourself and asking, what is actually true here? Not what is safe, not what will keep the peace, not what version of this I can offer that won't cost me anything, but what is true. And then, and this is the part that requires everything, then it's about saying it and living it, choosing it. Even when your nervous system is screaming, even when the room goes quiet, even when the people who built their relationship with you on the comfortable version push back. Because here is what the soul already knows, even when the mind is still negotiating. The truth always costs less than the lie. The lie charges compound interest in energy, in integrity, in the slow erosion of self-respect. The truth has an upfront cost. It is paid one time. And what it purchases is something no comfort can provide. Freedom. Slow, deliberate freedom. I want to ask you something, and I want you to actually answer this. Not for me, but for yourself. Where in your life are you choosing comfort right now and calling it something else? Calling it patience, maybe. Calling it wisdom. Calling it not the right time. Where's your soul sending you a signal that you have been choosing not to receive? Because the truth is, and this is the part that changes everything when you really let it, you already know. You have always known. The knowing was never the problem. The choice is. And the extraordinary, terrifying, liberating thing about a choice is that it can be made at any moment, including this one. Not choosing is a choice, an expensive one, one your soul is already paying the price for. So choose. Choose truth. Choose yourself. Choose the life that was placed inside you before the world had its way with you. The comfortable path leads somewhere, so does the courageous one. Only one of them leads home. Love is truth, truth is love. Stay conscious, stay sovereign, keep creating. Thank you.